Hello and welcome to the Vidyashilp EdCast, where we bring together voices that help us think deeper and learn without limits. I'm Angad and I'll be your host for today, and I'm truly excited because today we have somebody that's built one of the most prolific and dynamic storytelling agencies in the country. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Himanshu Arora.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much for being here, sir. You are the co-founder of Social Panga, which is a brand that's as unconventional as the path you've taken to build it. So it brings me great pleasure to welcome you on the show and to the Vidyashilp University campus.
Thank you.
Sir, you've always done things a little differently. Was that intentional? Where did that sort of boldness and curiosity come from?
So if somebody says that I want to be different, I don't believe in that, right? It basically comes from within, right? The moment you start fabricating things that, hey, I want to think out of the box, I want to be different, you won't be, right? It comes from looking out and looking in both. I'll tell you where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
So when I was in my engineering days, back in 2003, internet was just coming up, correct? I got introduced to internet and hardware, desktop, laptop, other pieces. I started my journey in terms of assembling those laptops and desktops, correct? Now that's a need in a way because I found it interesting. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I was able to make some money out of it. So whenever you look at that now, like, wow, but that time that was not different or out of the box, right? It just comes within. And you will always see a few set of people who think that way in everything that they do, correct? Not just in one thing, which is professional, right? And post that, my journey have been in terms of internet, in terms of having the first startup in 2003, then the second one in 2009 and 10, and then Social Panga was born. So you will always see people in your college who are at a leadership role, right? High chances they will be doing something of their own in a professional setup also. Like if I look at my engineering and MBA, both engineering and MBA, there are few set of people whom I used to work very, very closely in different leadership role, like you doing this podcast, right?
Yes.
In terms of doing like a council and other pieces, all of them on a high level basis are doing decently in their life. And 50% of those are people are working on their own, as in have their own startups and all.
Yeah.
Now, if I look back, there's one common kida or a DNA in them is that they're not very settled in their life in a good way, correct? Mm-hmm. They're very unsettled in a good way that if you're in a school or a college, you're not 100% okay in terms of what is being told to you. You always want to be in that space where you're driving things. Hence, you're maybe driving a fest, like a fest head, right? Or president, placements guy and all those stuff. So to answer your question in one line, no, I never thought that I'll do something which is different. It happened, correct? Right. And you will see this happening from childhood, correct? And I have a 4-year-old and a 7-month-old. When I go and meet those kids, you see that spark, correct? And everything they do, and then it comes from the childhood. Yeah.
All right. Amazing, sir. Thank you. At Vidyashilp University, we believe in not just learning one domain. We believe that doesn't prepare you for the future.
Absolutely.
We believe in going across domains, between domains. How has this train of thought helped in your career and your journey? How has interdisciplinarity helped you?
So when I was doing my education, right, it was as different as chalk and cheese now what is happening. So if you look at fundamentally, our parents wanted a basic, you call it roti kapda makan, right? You should have a basic job in hand, right? That's one generation. Now we move to the next generation, which is our generation, that roti kapda makan to an extent was taken care of.
Yes.
For us, the basic education, either become a doctor, engineer, doing an MBA. That's a basic necessity in terms of being successful in your professional setup. Correct? I think our generation, millennials, did that. Now, when we became parents, correct, Gen Z or now Gen Alpha, that basics is taken care of.
Absolutely.
Right? You will get a job if you're decently okay.
Yeah.
Right? In today's generation, specifically in Gen Z and Gen Alpha, more in Gen Alpha to an extent, right? It's very, very important that you know stuff other than just which is a norm here,
Yeah.
right? Engineering, MBA, because opportunities are immense in today's time, right? A good talent or a good skill set, correct, will not go unnoticed, right? And to know what's your skill set or what's your talent per se, and like done and dusted, your passion per se, how will you know what's your passion?
Yeah.
You'll only come to know if you try 10, 15 things.
Yes.
And out of the 10, 15 things, one thing you'll like it or you'll appreciate a lot more, right? And pick up that. People say follow your passion. How will you know your passion, right? If you don't try. I'll give you my own example. When I was doing my MBA, I got an internship in one of the biggest FMCG companies in the world. And when you're doing marketing, getting into FMCG is a very big thing.
Yeah.
But after 2 months of internship, I figured it out that I don't want to do that. It was a purely sales job.
Yeah.
So through elimination, I got into marketing advertising to an extent, right? But I able to figure it out because I did something, right? So it's very, very important that we keep on trying multiple pieces. And the good part is that our generation, millennials, as parents or little elder, they appreciate that.
Yeah.
So a lot of conversation these days is happening is that how you're putting your kids to sports, what are they doing other than study. So that's a good space to be in. So I'm 100% believer that next set of entrepreneurs from Gen Z and Gen Alpha will come who know 100 things and they're good at few of those.
Yeah. So you mentioned that your parents almost worked out of the necessity for the basic things of survival. And now with my generation, we don't have that, fortunately. But that also leads to a lot of confusion.
Absolutely.
So let's take an example of a student who is interested in design and psychology. What advice would you give to them if they're feeling torn between fields?
So every generation has its own set of challenges.
Yeah.
And the problem is that previous generation always think that they had in harder times.
Yeah.
And you will always see your parents saying that I traveled 10 kilometers, 100 kilometers,
Absolutely, sir.
right? Whatever generation it is,
Yeah.
right? And the current generation, as in the current parental generation, always think that the kids gets it easy. That's a thumb rule. When I'll be a parent where my kids are going to college, right? I'll always say that, hey, I struggle that much and my kid is getting it easy, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And the challenges of each generation is different. Hence, the way you look at in solving or a solution for that challenge will be different. It can't be same for everybody. Now, for the challenge that you guys are facing is a challenge of abundance.
Yeah.
Right? For you, it is important that you make the right choice. For us, there was no option of choice.
Absolutely.
And our previous generation was, if you look at it, our parents were always, as in my parents, who were born in about 50s, 60s and 70s, only government job.
Yeah.
Our generation, millennials, moved out from a government job. They explored. For us, Infosys, Wipro and TCS was the game, which is definitely not the case for you guys.
Yeah.
Right? You guys have an aspiration of something else. So for you to figure it out what you want to do, you have to try something new.
Yeah.
To do that, you're talking about design and 100 other things. How will you figure it out? You have to, like if you have a 4 years of program, aim every year you want to pick up something new.
Right.
So effectively, if every 6 months you do 2, it's 8.
Yes.
At least by elimination, you'll come to know after the 8 things that you've experimented with. It could be design, it could be social media, it could be radio, it could be filmmaking, any damn thing.
Yeah.
You're able to figure out this one thing that you're keen in and you have to good at it.
Right.
So only interest will not take you to places. You always have to be also good at it.
Yeah.
So interest and so competency and interest both needs to marry together.
Right. So action is important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of people love doing something, but they're not good at it. So
Amazing.
if you love doing something and you're good at it, that's where the magic happens.
So you've taken almost an unconventional path, as you mentioned, the engineers, the doctors. What would you say to someone who's struggling with the pressures on them to conform to the societal norms? How do they navigate about it?
So the most critical piece is that your inner circle should be onboarded with you. What does society says if your inner circle, which is mostly parents, doesn't care about, right, you'll be able to navigate it through. So what is important is for you to explain. You can't explain 100 people or 10 people, right, that this is what I'm trying to do, why I'm trying to do, and you should not be. What you should do is that your inner circle should be always onboarded. If you have a logical reasoning for it, my only solution for everything is communication, right? If that inner circle is onboarded with you with the right set of communication, there are very high chances they're able to put your thought to a large set of society. The problem is your inner circle sometimes is not very onboarded, which is generally your parents, correct, or your close friends. They are not able to convince or even onboard a large set of a society, and they become, say, ear and mouth of the society in a house, which you live with them for about 7 to 8 hours in a day. If you consider 15, 16 hours you're out of home, right? That becomes a challenge. The moment they are onboarded, they will give you that platform to perform an experiment. And to be honest, in today's time, basics of a job and all will be taken care of. There is abundance of opportunity in India right now with startups and all coming out, right? Like this 10 to like maybe 10 to 15 or 20 years is a golden period.
Absolutely.
For India. Like if you travel the world, you go to Europe, you go to UK, you go to US, right? The kind of opportunity which you're getting in India, correct? If you kind of compare with different countries, you'll be blown away. And it's a time, in a way, if you are good at something, just go for it. Don't even think about it. The good part is that parents are also understanding it.
Yeah.
Right? The only part which we lack, our generation, any generation lacks when you're growing up, is have a right communication.
Right.
Because that's how the ecosystem is. It's not easy, but it can be done for sure.
So it's almost trying to surround yourself
With the right set of people, with the right people who are onboarded with it, correct? Who build that positive ecosystem.
Yeah.
So if you look at, like, from Tendulkar to Kohli, from a cricket point of view, like, I love cricket, right? If the parents wouldn't have supported it, right, they wouldn't have become what they are, correct? And that's the most done and dusted example you will hear anywhere, right? If you're good at badminton, there's no harm trying, correct? And the good part is that if you're good at one thing, right, you will find a way out for sure. And if you don't figure out, you will find something else.
Absolutely.
But you will own your own decision in a way.
Absolutely. I think that relates right back to what you said earlier about action being the most important thing.
Correct. I think the problem which is, which not this generation, is that since you have so many opportunities, right? People try something, they get bored with that, and they move to something else. Jack of all trades, right? Because the feeling of FOMO kind of kicks in.
Absolutely.
Because you have social media and other pieces, you see that one of your friends is doing something which is a lot more shining on social media, you kind of move away. Focusedly doing something and going deep into it is a challenge which across the board people are facing. The challenge is not the skill set or getting into something which is not from a day-to-day engineering MBA and all. The challenge is you're picking up one thing and going deep into it. Correct? Because you have to move away from the distraction. Correct? You have to focus on the signal, not the noise.
Absolutely. And so that's a great thing you mentioned. A great segue into the next thing is, I think we both are aware, myself from a student point of view and you in your field, there's a lot of noise out there.
Absolutely.
Trends, content overload, almost a pressure to be on and about on everything. Is there anything you personally do to stay original?
So I always look at that social media feed is a business for somebody. It's like a news channel. So I don't believe what news channel says. I don't believe 100% what comes on my feed. I'll give you a very small example. So I'm a little bit into health, right? A lot of people are speaking about protein shake, other 100 other things. If you speak to any fitness guy, they will speak about protein shake and all.
Absolutely.
I was with a doctor about a week back, and he spoke in reality that Himanshu, not all protein shakes are good, and to an extent, if you don't take protein shake also, ideally you should not be taking because you don't know what goes into it. Correct? That was an eye opener for me, coming from a doctor. But if you go and speak to 99% of feed from a fitness standpoint, every damn fitness content creator will speak to consume protein shake.
Absolutely.
Correct? Because it's such a big market, they also have to build their commerce. Eventually, they're also into content creator business to build a commerce, right? To build their own business. So it's important. Take with a pinch of salt. Correct? Whatever they all are saying eventually is all to run their own business, right?
Yeah.
That's noise to an extent. So it's not easy, correct? But somewhere you have to draw a line. But I think we're going to get mature over a course of time. That is one. Second is, I think everybody says is screen time.
Yeah.
Correct? It's impossible. It's difficult. I also struggle a lot with it. But if you try, it is doable. But I see that's a poison. That's a poison.
Yeah.
So it was something else earlier. Man, this is cutting across generation. My dad look at the phone day in, day out, look at those random reels, YouTube shorts without putting earphones.
Brain rot.
Correct? You can't do much about it. So it's cutting across a generation. It's difficult, but I think we'll figure out somewhere.
I think with time we'll be able to increase the quality of content that's being pushed out from everyone once it gets past that point of, oh, I just need to grow my business.
Yeah, so if you look at a couple of years back, content about startup was the same thing, passion, other pieces. And in last 1.5, 2 years, none of the content creator who gave a generic gyan is able to get those numbers, is able to get that engagement, which is passion and all that, because done and dusted piece. Yeah. Same thing will happen from that content creator space point of view. Also, it's a whole cycle.
Absolutely.
When in few years back, chilling was going to a pub, correct? Our generation, it moved to having a green tea, it moved to doing a run in the morning, correct? It'll be something else, right? Consuming content on internet is the thing right now, is the problem. In 2-3 years or 5 years, you will find a solution where phones won't be allowed inside institution.
Yeah.
It could be education, professional institution. There would be conversation without phone. You will eventually see that journey over a course of time.
So how did you know that something was worth doing, especially when it didn't make sense to everyone else?
I believe if something doesn't make sense, it's always worth doing.
Yes, absolutely.
Because nobody else can understand that, right? So the less number of people who understand, a lot of people, when they see that some result is coming, they start appreciating it. But jokes apart, I have to be honest here, a lot of time you have to take that leap of faith. Like take an example, right now, AI is obvious, correct? So you will see like lakhs and lakhs of people learning AI, right? And they will come out with flying colors. But if somebody says that I want to get into which is driven by non-AI and human-led pieces, people will say you're going mad or what? Correct? I'm not saying that that's the right thing.
Yeah.
But I believe that if you go a contra approach, sometime life it works, sometime it doesn't. But there's no harm taking chances. That is part number one. Part number two, you get signals. Right? When we were starting with digital marketing, doing the advertising bit, a lot of brands started reaching out to us for the same bit, correct? And hence we went deep into it. So there are two ways to do. Pick up an obvious stuff and go deep and become an expert. Like in today's time, you go deep in AI, right? And you're the best in the space, right? And you are relevant to the large set of an industry in some way or another. Correct? Why would somebody avail your services and come to you is you have to be relevant to that conversation, right? I am here because I'm relevant to this conversation.
Yes.
That is one way. Second is that if you like something so much, as we call it, passion,
Yeah.
and that may not be the cool thing in that today's time, like writing without AI may not be the cool thing, but you like so much that you'll be best at it.
Yeah.
Go for it. But the problem is that if you take that route of not so good at it and taking a contra approach to it, then the demand of that thing will be less.
Yeah.
Correct? You know that as an AI professional, demand will be huge over a course of time. And if you go deep in it, there's a high chance you're going to succeed.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah.
Again, going back to the same piece is you need to be relevant in today's time. You do this way or this way.
Yeah.
Correct? Few years back, having a bank job was relevance. In our time, having an IT job was relevance. In tomorrow's your generation, maybe something else.
Mm-hmm. How do you read and almost predict that sort of relevance? Obviously, we'd see it in our daily lives and AI has come up in such a way, but there were definitely those that probably sat and thought and predicted it ahead of time. Is there anything that you do to predict what the trends could
Observe.
be? Observe.
100%. So, observation in terms of how the society is, in what direction society is moving. Like now we know that we have our generation or couple of generation have spent so much time in terms of sitting in front of systems. Our health has gone for a toss. So next generation or our generation, when we age, health becomes such an important piece. And if you're building something in health 6-7 years back, boom. Now there's so many healthier options which has come in terms of snacking.
Yeah.
There are 100,000 brands who claim to be a healthier option, which was not the case 5-6 years back.
Yeah.
Correct? Personal care, take an example. 5-6 years back, nobody used to invest that much on the personal care. Your disposable income went up. When disposable income went up, you want to find a way or find an avenue to spend money. You try to different brands. So a lot of consumer brands are coming in India. Personal care is one space in 10 other categories or industries. Correct? When you see disposable income goes up, similar trend happened in US, and they start consuming new brand. Can you be that entrepreneur who create a new or a consumer brand for Indian audience? This is a 5 to 10 years back mind space, but that comes from an observation standpoint. Content, I'm giving an example.
Yeah.
Content creator are going up. Content consumption is growing up. So you need a lot of people to create that content. Mm-hmm. Vidyashilp is creating a content. It is a bit of a content. You're speaking, somebody is recording. So that skill set of content creation, it could be anything in terms of speaking, in terms of audio, video, visual, whatever it is, right? Is going to go up.
Yeah.
Correct? Is that skill set going to be relevant for like 5-10 years? Yes. Can you build your career? Yes. Will you see a lot of demand coming from there? Yes. Correct? You have to build storytelling.
Yeah.
A content creation is what? Storytelling, right? Mm-hmm. If you're good at storytelling, can you get into storytelling and build your career out there? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
So it comes from an observation piece. You're consuming your content on phone.
Yeah.
Who's building a phone? What chip is going inside? People are talking about make in India. Manufacturing is going up. Can you build your career in manufacturing? Skill set, very, very dry, boring. Yes. It's going to go up? Answer is yes. So it comes from hell lot of observation and to an extent exposure also.
Okay, amazing. And that's great, sir, because as a student myself, I think we do really just need to take a step back and observe and see the trends to see what we can do in the future.
And I have to be honest here, the way the whole education ecosystem is changing in India, right? Vidyashilp is one of the examples. There's so many other players in the market, which gives you an exposure, right? To at least know what you want to do, an experiment, allow you to experiment, right? So you don't come with this, you come with this,
absolutely.
and then you move into this direction.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned observation earlier, and that's great advice for students, but you've obviously built such a successful brand and you're in a position where you can give out some more advice. For a student just like myself and my peers who are just figuring out who we are, is there anything you can say?
Yeah, so three things. I think one is the most obvious one is being as curious as you can get. Like for me, my chat GPT is my best friend. Like I was telling somebody, she spoke with me from 10 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. in the morning. Like about 4.5, 5 hours, we were just chit-chatting, right? And I didn't realize the time flew because I was curious, was typing, she was answering, I'm assuming she there,
Yeah.
right? She was typing, she was responding to her, and we build on that conversation, right? So I always believe that if somebody, as a student, if you're curious, is killer bit.
Yeah.
I have a 4.5-year-old, and he asks so many questions. So I'm surprised, shocked that a curiosity goes down as we grow older. Correct? You will see kids, they look at things like this, they ask questions, but over a course of time, our system is not just India, but overall, it doesn't push you to ask questions, right? But as a kid or as somebody like you, if you're curious about different skill sets,
Yeah.
this is happening, I'm going to pick up one. The problem is that if you don't experiment and try, if you're not curious, you will never know if you're good at it or not, or you have an interest in that. That is point number one. Point number two, if you want to do an experiment on something, start doing it right away. And this in India, you get an exposure. Correct? I think you have heard this for so many content creators in India that do a cold email. Like if you want to try social media advertising, pick up the 20 companies in Bangalore, do an email to them. One of them will definitely respond. Go and work there for 2 months. It'll be an eye opener for you. Trust me. So your reality and a bubble will go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
That's second. Third piece, I think, which you also spoke about is more signal than noise.
Yeah.
Noise is all the doom scrolling that we do.
Yeah.
So I think it's there on internet pretty well. There's a thing says that Elon Musk has 1-to-1 signal and noise.
Yeah.
It means that whatever time that he spends, it's only on signal, no noise.
Yes.
Steve Jobs has a high rate of signal and less of noise.
Yeah.
This is a very deep meaning to it. You will see a lot of people putting a dollar to every second or minute they spend on.
Mm-hmm.
The moment that starts happening, you're appreciating a lot of your time.
Absolutely. So,
And if that habit comes in at your generation or your age, it's a killer instinct.
absolutely. I think so. Staying curious, actually acting on what you want, and staying focused with your time.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it across.
Yeah. All right. So, looking back at your university days, was there any lesson that you learned not for marks but something just for life in general?
So I from school days, there's one common thread. When I look back, I figured it out. I was average in studies, to be honest. That was not my game. But other than studies, I would do everything. Correct? In college, both my engineering and my MBA, right? I was that guy who wanted to be at the core of it in terms of whatever is happening. Either fest or a student president, right? And that allowed me to have an exposure like anything. Like I remember speaking to tech leaders back in 2003. So I was the only kid from student who was representing the college to Microsoft and Google at the same time for some basic stuff, very, very basic stuff. But I got that opportunity, correct, to speak to people like leaders and tech leaders out there because I was there, right? So I always say this, that your education or your degree is just not about studies, correct? The more exposure that you get or the more attempt you have it on at getting different exposure, the chances that you figure it out, because if you have 10 exposure, you have 100 exposure. 100 obviously has more chances, so the failure chances is less for 100 versus the 10. You give more chances for yourself to succeed, basically. So if I look at my college days or any of the education bit, because if you fail, then nothing at stake.
Yeah.
But the moment you're after the college, you put a dollar value to your failure bit, right? But at college, it's zero. It's learning, correct? So I believe that experiment and try as much as you can.
Absolutely.
It's a killer time. If given an opportunity, I would love to go back to my college and experiment few more things, because there's nothing at stake.
So just make the most of your time in college.
Make the most. Make the most.
And so one last question. If you could leave a message for the Vidyashilp students listening to the episode today, what would it be?
One single line: experiment, try, and be focused in terms of what you're learning.
All right. Amazing, sir. Thank you so much for coming on. And
you.
on that note, that is our episode for today. Thank you all to our listeners. Please stay bold, stay curious, and always remember, just ask better questions, because that is the Vidyashilp spirit. Until next time, I've been Angad. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me.
And we'll see you again next episode.